Hey guys, welcome back to the Okomas. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe and you click the notification bell so you're updated whenever you bring out a new video. So today we're going to be talking about how to prepare for marriage. So if you're interested in that, make sure you stay tuned. So my faith is at the core of my beliefs, my values, and what I hold important to me in life. So the first thing that I would recommend would be to Bible study what marriage is. What does marriage look like biblically? What does marriage look like for the woman biblically? For example, in Ephesians, the Bible talks about a woman being submissive to her husband. What does submission look like? Are you submitted to your parents? Are you submitted to your spiritual leader? Also, the Bible talks about a woman not only focusing on her outward appearance, but on her heart. So what do you adorn yourself with? Are you gentle spirited? Are you quick to anger? Are you prone to gossip? All of these things that are important biblically for women, I would suggest that you begin to take principles out from the Bible and begin to implement them into your life. And the beautiful thing about marriage is that it's not something that you just prepare for solely, it's something that you can prepare for in community. How are you with your relationship with your parents? How are you in your friendships? How do you act? You know, are you quick to anger? Are you quick to cut people off? Are you quick to walk away from friendships? Are you quick to walk away from relationships? All of these things are important when considering marriage and preparing for marriage, because marriage is a lifelong commitment. If you aren't, submissive to your dad when he told you to do something, if you're quick to rebel, you won't really last long in marriage, because marriage is really a lifetime of laying yourself down for the person that you love. And so practicing these things in the relationships that you have now are so important. The second thing I would recommend when preparing for marriage is read books. Like, get so much resources. Like the internet, the world is full of resources that you can use to your benefit when preparing for marriage. And the most amazing thing about books is that it gives you so much insight into what marriage actually is, and it gives you a wider scope and a wider understanding as to what you can expect going into marriage, what elements of you that you'd like to work on or change when going into marriage. And there are a few books that I read whilst preparing for marriage. And the first book that I read was Boy Meets Girl, Say Hello to Courtship, and that was by Joshua Harris. And that wasn't so much about marriage, it was about the stages before marriage, which is courting. That helped me with the principles that I had for myself going into marriage. It helped me decide what my boundaries were, and also develop principles for myself and how I was going to honor God in my courtship. I also read Sacred Marriage by Gary Thomas, and I've actually got that here. And this book is literally so amazing, and why I love it is because it's not just focused on marriage as an aspect, but it focuses on how marriage can make us more holy. So it's not so much focused on our emotions and our feelings and how marriage is meant to make us happy, but it's more so focused on how we can serve our spouse and serve God in the process. Another book that I read whilst preparing for marriage was The Meaning of Marriage, and I've actually got it here by Timothy Keller. And I actually haven't finished this book, but this book is so amazing because it goes into the details of what marriage actually means, divorce rates, what breaks up marriages. So it gives you a wider scope and a wider understanding of the covenant you're about to enter into. And one of the other books that I read that I absolutely love is Love and Respect, and this is by Dr. Emerson. And this book is amazing because it doesn't only talk about my role in marriage as a woman, but it talks about how I can also honor my husband and the things that are important to my husband. For example, respect. And before reading this book, I really didn't know how much respect was so important to men. So again, reading books can seriously widen your scope, widen your gaze, and help you understand different elements and different compartments of what marriage is. So your expectations for marriage, or your expectations of the process leading to marriage, become a lot more realistic, defined, and honed in. And my third point is develop relationships with married people. Now, I cannot emphasize or express this enough, because reading books is great, studying what biblical marriage is great, but if you actually don't interact with a married person, you're only gonna get a particular view of it, but you're not really gonna get real interaction, real conversation, real engagement with a married person or a married woman. So I really encourage you to develop relationships with those that are married, those that are engaged, because so you can really gain a realistic scope of marriage. And so it's also a safe place for you to ask questions, because for example, when you're studying what marriage is, when you're reading about what marriage is, you're gonna develop questions. You're gonna think of, okay, so what does marriage look like? What does marriage look like for me? So to create a space where you can actually ask a married woman questions, or where they can teach you, ways to prepare. For example, they can teach you things or say things to you that books may not say. There are so many other ways or so many other avenues to prepare for marriage, but I think these three are probably the most foundational, the most important when considering marriage. So I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. If you do have any questions or video suggestions, make sure you drop them in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.